Hello and welcome to Community and University Video Edition, where scholarship meets community and economic development. I'm your host, Heather Mahoney, and today I'm joined by Sam Butler. Sam is the Executive Director of Doing Development Differently in Metro Detroit, or D4. D4 is a nonprofit organization focused on equitable and sustainable development practices for our communities. Sam is also one of REI's 2020 Innovation Fellows. How are you today, Sam?
I'm good, Heather. Thanks for having me.
Sure thing. So, Sam, your project focuses on projects designed to infuse more community benefits into development practice. Could you tell us a bit more about what those projects are and how they could impact communities?
Sure. Well, let me start by saying that, when a building is built, it's much more than just four walls and a roof, right? It is a thing that affects the whole community. It affects not only the people who are living and working inside the building, but the neighbors, right? When that building is built, it actually represents, a large investment of capital and public policy and things like that. And so when something is built, we think there's a real opportunity to make sure that it is benefiting the larger neighborhood as a whole. So we try to do a lot of things around affordable housing, local hiring or public space, green building, those types of things. How do we use the built environment in the real estate development process to further social and economic equity? So we do this a lot around public policy. We're working on some policies to infuse greater equity into Detroit's zoning code. And then we're also providing some recommendations to other cities around the state. And then we do some direct campaigns. So we're working with a few communities that are seeing a large scale investment and helping those communities work with the developer to encourage, like I said, more affordable housing and jobs. I can provide more detail if you want.
Sure thing.
Sure. Yeah. So one of the projects we've been working on for a long time is Henry Ford Hospital. They are building a new cancer center. And for years, we've been working with them in the local community to create a local jobs pipeline. So the hospital has been great. They partner with the community to host a bunch of trainings, as well as to just provide general assistance on filling out the hospital application. And, the goal here is really to make sure that people who live near the hospital can actually work in the hospital. Because as you can imagine, the hospital is located in a low-income community of color where the unemployment rate is pretty high. And we want people to not only have good, decent paying jobs, but then also, be able to have jobs that provide a larger career ladder. So a healthcare job, for instance, is something that offers that opportunity. We also are doing a lot around the Michigan State Fairgrounds. So that is 140 acres in Detroit. It's the largest piece of assembled property in the city of Detroit. And there's a developer who wants to do a mixed use project there. So some apartments, some retail, maybe a movie theater. And again, we want to make sure that the residential units are affordable and that we are kind of stemming displacement and preventing future gentrification, as well as making sure that local residents are the ones getting access to the jobs. There's a lot of precedent for these types of community benefits agreements around the country. So that is what we're trying to do in Detroit.
So, what obstacles need to be overcome for a plan like this to come to fruition?
Yeah. So, I think this is maybe a boring answer, but the simple answer is just more people power, right? We need more boots on the ground. We need to be able to knock on doors, organize communities to make sure that they are aware that these opportunities exist when something is being built in their neighborhood. So for the State Fairgrounds, as I mentioned, 2 summers ago, we had a pretty extensive door knocking campaign. We were able to hire some local residents to go door to door, do a community needs assessment, and we knocked on 1,200 doors. As you can imagine, the top 2 concerns of local residents were housing. They wanted to make sure that if the fairgrounds is redeveloped, they don't want to be displaced. And then they also just want access to jobs and the retail amenities that'll go with it. Yeah, that is what we need. Just more people in the picture.
Is there like resistance that you're finding to this sort of work?
Yeah, I think Detroit for a long time has had a development culture where anything built was seen as a good thing. And we're trying to like flip that script a little bit, right? Like we absolutely want more things to be built in Detroit. Detroit still has an enormous vacancy problem, but not all development is necessarily good development if it's not done in conjunction with the people that live nearby, right? So we've been slowly but surely trying to change the development culture in the city. So it's less opposition and more just like culture change. That's really what we're trying to get after here. So we've been able to sign a few community benefits agreements already. We have a couple in place with Henry Ford Hospital, as I mentioned. We signed one with a mixed-use apartment building, and the developer at first did not want to sign it, but because we were able to organize some local community members and they, voiced their opinion that this was really important, eventually the developer did come around. As a result of that agreement, we were able to negotiate more affordable housing as well as some communication strategies and really like cement a community partnership between the developer and the community.
Can community members get involved with a project like this?
Absolutely. Yeah. So, like I said, we need more people. So, volunteers are always necessary. I invite people to check out our website, www.metrodetroitd4.org, or they can email info@metrodetroitd4.org to find more information. We, are interested in anything from just volunteers who want to help with an existing campaign, or if there are other communities who are seeing some development and are interested in ways that they can positively impact and influence that development. We also get a lot of calls from our partners in the labor movement, right? So we always try to pair community members with organized labor, both on the construction side and post-construction jobs. So one of the things that we always try and push for too is if there's going to be service jobs at a project, right? Think janitorial staff, maintenance crews, or even just cashiers. We want to make sure that those employees have the right to unionize, and at least collectively bargain if they want.
So what will your presentation at the summit cover?
Yeah, so I think we're going to cover everything I just talked about. I mean, I think we're still trying to change the development culture in Metro Detroit and probably Michigan at large. But I think there's also a real opportunity emerging around local jobs pipelines. So I think our presentation will focus on that. In many of the communities in which we work, the labor participation rate is really low. And so it seems like such a mismatch that you have local residents who aren't employed and aren't even like looking for jobs. And then it literally sometimes in their backyard is a large jobs producer. So how do we connect those two things? How do we build a jobs pipeline that makes those local residents feel comfortable, and also to make sure that they are prepared for whatever jobs are coming down the pike?
What will your work look like with this project after the summit?
We want to push for more policy change. So we want to see some policies codified in the city zoning code that allow for more equity and more affordable housing and things like that. We're going to continue to push for more community benefits agreements around the Metro Detroit area. But also I'm really hoping to get some pilot projects for these like local jobs pipelines that I've mentioned. We already have one in place near Henry Ford Hospital, which is fantastic. We are really excited to possibly put one in place around the state fairgrounds as that's being developed. We also are watching the Michigan Central Station. So as you probably know, the Ford Motor Company is redeveloping the Michigan Central Station. And in the community benefits agreement there, we were able to get the inclusion of a local hiring hall. So that is actually in the agreement that Ford has agreed to. And I know they're working on it. I know they're interested in it, but the progress has been slow. So we want to see if we can lend a hand to really boosting that effort.
That is all the questions I have for you. Is there anything else you would like to share with viewers about your project?
I mean, I would just like to thank Michigan State University for allowing us to be a part of this and exploring these great ideas. I think, it's going to take all hands on deck. It's going to take partners with universities. It's going to take partnerships with community members and organized labor, and just more great conversations like this and the summit. So,
All right. Thank you for joining me today, Sam.
no, thank you, Heather. It was a pleasure.
To our viewers, if you would like to learn and hear more about Sam's project and other research in community and economic development, mark your calendars for the Innovate Michigan Summit, which will take place virtually on September 3rd and 4th. More information will be coming soon, so visit reicenter.org and look for summit information under the events tab. Thank you again, Sam, for speaking with me today, and thank you all for watching.